but he's
Yeah,
not.
he's virtually omniscient. Granted, I did want to ask this earlier. Do you actually think Koji can see all possible futures or every aspect of all possible futures? There's a reason why I'm asking.
Well, just based upon like what I just said, I would say no. You can't see all aspects. I have no evidence. Actually, I have evidence to the contrary to that. Yeah,
exactly. I'm curious if you're going to say the same one, but go ahead and say yours first.
What do you mean? Oh, it's just the one I'm like when he's just asking like it's like when Ada she knows all in the past, but she still has like asking questions like but you can say, well, it's not autonomous, like she just doesn't. Well, like if Koji can like see all possible futures, you can see a thing but not get like the totality of a thing. Like I can see a person, you, but like, I don't know what like your inner workings are going on. Like if you have like a
obviously that,
yeah. So like you can see, but not all things. So that's clearly a thing that exists in reality. So no, I don't think he can see all things just based off the dialogue. He's like,
I don't think so either. Because there's one.
He's like, what a nuisance! Almost like he didn't even see that coming. You would imagine if he saw he'd be like Dr. Manhattan from the Watchmen. Like he just had no expression or emotion because like everything that would happen, he already know about it. He wouldn't even have a need to ask questions. So the fact that he's even asking Boruto questions is just a confirmation. Yeah.
And another one is Himawari in the Nine Tails. Boruto is just verbatim, like, surprised. Like, oh, Jura's after Himawari? What? She has the Nine Tails? So, and Koji's expression is kind of tricky. I think I can't say you can guarantee anything. He's not like Boruto where he's got the exclamation point of surprise, but he's got that, like, serious expression, which makes me think it might not have been something he saw. At the very least, he didn't tell Boruto about it. But I feel like that's kind of a big deal. So he might not have seen that for whatever reason.
But here's the thing, though. 'Cause I think that dialogue, not only just from like it's just good writing to have like him apologize for what he did to like Konohamaru and them, but I also think it links them as like people who share the same kind of shinobi ideology. Because like Boruto's always like even like multiple times in the past willing to like die for others, almost like a worthless deaths seemingly, especially in like the anime's continuity. So like a shinobi's a tool, so like they're kindred spirits in that way. And like nobody, the truth, like nobody really wants to know like their future. Like you kind of do, but like I kind of don't. Like if I can control it, sure, fine. But like don't you know what? Don't tell me. No, I don't want to know. So and Boruto says that like don't say less. Actually, literally say less. Like don't. So if there's information that Boruto's like surprised about that's not relevant to like the mission of stopping the Tentos, then I'm not surprised that he like doesn't know all. Because Koji, like he literally tells Koji not to tell him anymore in this chapter. And then also the ideology part's important. The reason why I brought that up is because I think there are things that Koji is like Doctor Strange in Infinity War and Endgame, right? Tony Stark is Boruto and Doctor Strange is Koji in this example. I think Koji is trying to like make changes in in quote unquote the present to steer them towards a certain like future that's positive, but in so doing there's going to have to be sacrifices made. Boruto's death, Himawari's death, and there's no utility in him telling Boruto this because they share the same kind of shinobi mentality, which is confirmed in this chapter. And also like the lore of the character that they're willing to sacrifice themselves in order to like achieve the mission. And I think that's what's occurring with
so you think he just didn't tell Boruto then in this case rather than him not knowing?
Yeah, I think that's one of those like major events, like the Nine Tails is Jinchuriki. That's a piece on the board that he would definitely know about, I feel like. And there's no utility in him telling Boruto, because it wouldn't like really aid him in the mission, I don't think. Or like maybe he just realized, well, Boruto he'll find out at some point. But right now it's not like really relevant. And I think he's willing to like just
with that in mind,
let people.
Do you think Boruto's gonna ask Koji about it? Like, hey, did you know about Himawari and the Nine Tails, blah blah blah? Or do you think that Boruto's just never gonna ask?
I don't think he's gonna ask. I think Boruto is the type of character that would be like, again, like they have a shared.
I don't think he's gonna ask either.
Yeah, like I think he understands. Like, yo, like there's gonna be stuff that he knows that he's not going to tell me. Because
he's literally said, "I won't say everything."
Like, imagine if like certain events needed to happen, like exactly how they happen, and if he tells Boruto something, Boruto goes rushing off. Well, he doesn't do the thing that he needs to do in order. Like, it may seem so inconsequential. Like the encounter between him and Kawaki, that may seem so inconsequential to us, but that might just be like something that like a domino effect that like sparks some like major thing that happens later on in the series. But because we can't see the future, we don't know the importance of that interaction. As an example. So if he knows about Himawari, that never happens. He goes rushing off to save Himawari, wherever the fuck, or learn about what's going on with his sister when he's not supposed to. And then from there, like, now we're on a different timeline that we don't want to be on because, like, I fucked around and like told him stuff that he didn't need to know. That type of
Yeah,
stuff. So
I like
Koji's in
that
an
idea of
interesting
Koji's
position.
trying to steer Boruto because there's definitely some things you could play with thematically. We'll come and take this probably like 3 hours from now, but if Koji's trying to steer Boruto towards a certain fate, Boruto himself might have a disagreement with Koji and some aspects. Let's just say killing Kawaki. Koji might want him to do it, maybe Boruto doesn't, and that can lead to Boruto having to be like, you know what, screw you, I'm gonna make my own future, blah blah blah. Thematics. But I like the idea that Koji is at least trying to steer Boruto in a certain direction. And so him picking and choosing what information he doesn't tell him, which is work in that regard. So I hope that's exactly what I hope he saw the Nine Tails, but chose not to tell him. I think I just
Well, Kamui,
I
that
think that's like
goes
exactly
aligned
what happened.
perfectly for Apex's new super chat of 2. Thank you, Apex. Calibre, very, very much. He says, Koji's face knows Boruto won't, quote-unquote, save Kawaki. I think that's interesting.
I do want to talk.
That's
Koji either knows he won't or he knows he shouldn't based off of a future thing.
He wasn't surprised.
I think
wasn't shocked, not
I
stunned.
think Koji, we can get into like
Alex.
execution of the chapter aspect of this, but I think the Kawaki, the flash forward scene with Kawaki and Boruto is in some manner a part of the worst possible future or what leads to it. Koji may only have described the very tail end, planet dies. But I think that whole thing with Kawaki is going to be part of it or leading to it. And that's going to play a role in his expression. Like, either you're not going to save him, bro, or you really shouldn't save him, bro.
But like Koji like literally tells Boruto he's gonna die. Like he says like he will kill you. Didn't he say that? Like he didn't like say like, oh, it's possible, like in so many like different scenarios you die. Like he just said like, yo, bro's gonna kill you.
Okay. He said something. Okay, so
He says
what
Boruto,
he
he's going
said
to kill
is
you.
the following: Boruto, you will be killed by him. And then he says, it's not a for sure thing. So immediately after.
Wait, did he say that in the official chapter? Hold on.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing.
I see.
So
My bad. You're correct.
Yeah.
You're correct.
So
I haven't finished reading the chapter yet. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I just went through most of it. I haven't finished it either, to be honest. I didn't bother reading the end because I didn't think it was gonna be that much different. But anyway, so it's kind of a weird way of phrasing it, but he's basically saying it's extremely likely that you'll die by Jura.
Yeah, it's like he's steering Boruto towards a path because like one number is like it's kind of obvious, but like even when Boruto's going up against the Shinji, he keeps telling like, yo, bro, get out of there. Do you want the world to end? Like Boruto keeps defying him, and then he has to like apologize for it after the fact. Like, so like he's clearly like that's why I like use the analogy like chess. Like he's the player, but everybody else are just pieces on Koji's board. The question is like, is there going to be someone Koji's playing against? That would be kind of interesting. If you can like identify who that might be. Because I think Jura right now is just like the Shinju are just pieces on the board, but I don't think they're the player. It might be Shibai. I don't know, but that's too like grandiose right now.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Okay, regardless of who we think it will be, assuming Koji is a one chess player, and you have to pick a person for him to play chess against, who do you want it to be? So I think we should pick reasonable people. Probably not going to be like, I don't know, Denki, So I'm thinking off the top of my head, Ada,
Amato.
Shibai, Amado, Jura, probably the Kawaki. I don't know about Kawaki. I think Kawaki's a player on the board versus the chess player.
I think if there's another player, then they have to be playing now. I think in order for the analogy to work, like Koji is like moving pieces right now. He's trying to maneuver Boruto to like arrive at a certain conclusion, a positive one would hope. So if he's doing that, he's playing the game now. He has to be playing against somebody now. So it has to be somebody who's making move. Like maybe we don't even know who they are. Maybe it's like I said, Amato's a really good candidate for that. Akibi Sanzu is really good.
I like
Somebody
Amato
who's
for it.
somebody who's like making moves in the shadows. Like that's why I think Amato's internal dialogue like confirms that he believes what he is, like he believes what he's saying. Because like why say unless he thinks somebody can read his mind, and then like he's like taking precautions against that. But that's like exhausting. My God. So I think if Amato is a villain, outside of like all the terrible things he's done, the means justify the ends type of mentality. But if he's like an actual villain to the story, he needs to be one that doesn't know he's a villain yet. He thinks he's like the father who's doing whatever he has to save the world and save his daughter. But in actuality, he's much more than that. And he's like memories are wiped or suppressed or something like that. But no matter what he does, subconsciously, he's making moves that favor his true self and not like, he thinks he's saving his daughter, but in actuality, bringing Akibi Sanzu back is like fucking Armageddon, that type shit. And maybe
But yeah.
Nah, bro. Koji knows that, bro. Boruto is dead meat. That's like multiple versions of Boruto got packed up.
Besides,
and then like
Izanagi
there's also the
technically is
possibility
oneself as well. Like Izanagi's making
there's also the
Gonzo
possibility
not reverting Sasuke's Susanna. But sorry, Mello, go ahead.
I think it's a possibility that like Koji is lying
Yeah, absolutely. I
to
completely agree.
Boruto in this chapter.
100%.
Just
Okay, let's
just
go with the hypothetical.
on
Let's just
necessity.
assume he's lying about something in this chapter.
Mhm.
What is your pick for the lie? Or multiple if you
Mm,
think multiple things are a lie. Don't say everything, okay? That's cheating.
I have to go through it again. There's a lot, but
Mm.
I think mostly I think maybe I'm not sure what it would be, but like the underlying reason. But that's not answering your question. What would it be?
Kamui, I think you already know my answer.
Maybe
Oh.
something with he doesn't say anything about Kawaki, so he doesn't like it's not a lie, maybe a lie by omission. But what's your answer, Oodie?
So it wasn't originally a lie. It was more of him either emotionally guarding himself from this possibility or lying to himself or whatever. Because he says that there's infinite timelines, infinite possibilities. But doesn't he also say that he can see every timeline? He can see all of
Is that
them?
what he said?
I forget what he says. That might just be spoilers only.
Yeah, he says, yeah, he does. He says, I can see all possible futures.
But
And he
there's
also says that there's
infinite
infinite. How do you see infinite things?
So I don't think that's true.
Possible doesn't necessarily imply infinite.
No, but he says there are infinite in a
Yeah.
different panel.
Oh, does he? Oh, where? I don't.
Yeah.
I need to finish
As I
reading
mentioned
this shit.
earlier, there are infinite possible futures. Did he ever mention that earlier?
Which page is that,
I
by
don't
the way?
remember.
Because
What
on
page is
page
that?
22 to
Yeah.
23, he's talking about the ability to see all possible futures. And Boruto says, all possible futures?
In 28 to 29 is where he says,
29.
page 28 is the infinite possible futures part. But does he ever use the word infinite before then?
I don't know. But...
There are infinite possible futures. As I mentioned earlier, no, he didn't mention that earlier, bro.
Yeah, it's just that's just a lie.
Yeah, so there
But
you go.
maybe you did. Maybe I didn't see it. Okay, well, yeah, there you go. I thought you learned.
So
about,
the question
okay.
is this an intentional lie, or is Koji lying to himself?
Well, just
Or is this just
it's like assumptions, like
dialogue?
maybe you can see all the possible futures. Maybe that's like an assumption that he's making. Well, he's like, well, fuck, I've seen all of these, so like it necessarily follows that I'll be able to see this next set that come down the road. Maybe it's just something like that, or maybe like he can see them all, but just not all at once, so it doesn't overwhelm him.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's possible he can
Yeah.
see all of them. He has the potential to see any of the infinite ones, but he can't see all of them at once.
Yeah.
He just could see all of them,
gotcha.
but he can't.
That
Yeah,
makes
Yeah, I
sense
think
because
he's
there's
just making
infinite
an
time.
assumption.
Yeah, because he's talking about like when he's telling Boruto this, he's like, even now the timeline's ticking because I'm telling you this, so now you know it, so it's changing right before it's like at that moment he's probably getting a new one, but he's not getting one for what happens 3 million years in the future, only like the present, however that's affecting the future.
Yeah, I like the idea. I mean, granted, the problem is even in his future visions from before, he saw pretty far out. I'm sure there are plenty of crossroads of importance in between all of them. So I don't know that's like he can only see it at every crossroad, because there's going to be too many of those. So I don't really know how often he does this and so on. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
He probably just, I don't know, like it's difficult to even like it must be like I said, Doctor Strange. Like just looks and just sees like, okay, this is the one right here, and it's like maybe time moves differently for him when he's observing. It's just difficult for us to grasp observing like infinite things, but from like yeah, like maybe Koji's like experience, like his lived experience, is like trillions of years mentally, but like physically, it just happens in like maybe seconds from like an observer standpoint. But like for him, he's just been like observing, like the Watcher in Marvel, just like observing different like timelines for like eons at this point. We just don't know about it.
Dude, the information overload must be like insane for this dude.
Yeah, because like he seems so like plain faced. Like I don't know, like maybe if I go back and like kind of like I feel like Koji had like a kind of swagger about him like before, but he just seems so like even when like Boruto's talking about like, oh, I'll finish code and take out the Ten Tails. There's that like one panel where he just like has this blank stare, like, yeah,
It was a serious expression, but yeah, it wasn't like the swagger. But granted, that's more him just being a badass as he's doing his Ishiki takedown plan. So it's a little bit different. But
How did he get his his leg and arm?
well,